Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time tuning in, my name is Adrielle, and I'm currently narrating a story of my life dating back from January 2016. In the previous episode, I talked about the month of September 2022, and in this episode, I am going to still talk about the month of September 2022. So here it goes. So y'all, it is September 23rd, and for some odd reason, y'all, I thought about Nami. I thought about the video that Nami and Brandon had of them playing basketball with Caitlin and her friend back in 2016. Now, I did mention that video in 2020, and in this episode, I'm bringing it back around. Back in 2020, when I did research on Caitlin, Nami, and Brandon, I came across a video that Caitlin's friend posted on Twitter. The date of that video was October 18, 2016. In the video, Caitlin, Brandon, Nami, and her friend, they're all playing basketball at Caitlin's school. I remember watching that video and I was thinking to myself, man, why is Nami at another state playing basketball on a school day? So on this particular day, September 23rd, I decided to do my own research when it came to Nami and his time at college, because like I said, y'all, I remember seeing pictures of Nami being in different states while he should be in school. So I'm gonna tell you what I found out. I found out that Nami went to a particular school for his freshman year at a particular state. I think either his sophomore year or junior year, he transferred to a different school in a different state. Okay, so I remember going to that school's website, looking at their graduation, because according to what I was able to see on social media, after December 2016, Nami was no longer in school. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, that means he graduated December 2016. So I'm going through graduates of the fall 2016 semester with Nami's university, y'all. I put in Nami's name. I put in his first name, his last name, his middle name. I put in everything, y'all. Nothing popped up. I'm able to see all the graduates of fall 2016 except for Nami. So I'm thinking to myself, I don't think Nami graduated. Because here's the thing about Nami. If Nami graduated, I honestly believe he would have posted that picture of his graduation on social media, because he posted Brandon's picture when he graduated on social media. Nami has no record of a graduation pic on his social media. So now I'm thinking to myself, I don't think Nami graduated from college. So that was what I kind of realized at that point. So I said, okay, if he didn't graduate, he probably dropped out. That's fine, right? September 24, the next day, September 24, now this is after 12 a.m., I remember being in bed and thinking to myself, man, I remember I had a dream back in 2019 of someone telling me the number 28, and then the next thing you know, Brandon posted something on Instagram about the number 28, and he was just talking about his father, how much he loves his father. And I remember at this point asking God, what did that dream mean? I didn't understand 28. The next thing you know, y'all, the knowing happened. September 28 dropped in my spirit. So I said, Lord, what's going to happen September 28? So I'm thinking at this point that, is the judgment going to happen September 28? So I'm like, what's going to happen September 28, y'all? So I said, you know what? I don't know what's going to happen, but something's going to happen. For September 28 to drop in my spirit, something is going to happen, and I'm nervous, and I feel like it has something to do with Brandon and Caitlin. So y'all, days go by. It is September 28, and I said, you know what? I am not checking Brandon and Caitlin's page, because what if something happens? What if the fire happens? I'm so scared. September 29, I decided to Google fires in Norman, Oklahoma, because that's where they were staying at the time. I didn't see anything about Brandon and Caitlin's place. So I said, okay, let me just go to Brandon and Caitlin's page. Y'all, something did happen. Apparently, there was a glitch on their retail website, so nobody could order anything. There were so many people DMing them that they're trying to order the clothes, they're trying to order this, they're trying to order that. Nobody could order anything. Y'all, Caitlin had a meltdown. And I'm going to post the receipts from that day. So on the screenshot, Caitlin asked them if the issue was resolved. So I think they told them to keep trying to see if it was working. This is what Caitlin puts on her story. She says, "You guys, I think our employee of the month may have fixed the site." When I saw that, I said, "Caitlin, you are very stupid to call Brandon an employee. You are very stupid." Yo, at this time, I had no patience for Caitlin. It was like, Lord, just please put an end to all this because this girl is really getting on my nerves. She also adds to the story, "If you have had issues with our site recently, can you please do us a huge favor and just go add random item sizes to your cart and let us know if the problem is fixed on your end. It would mean the absolute world. Then please come back to this and leave your experience in the box above." So yeah, y'all, they had a glitch on their clothing website and no one could make any purchases. So the next receipt, screenshot, it was from an hour after that post. And it says, "Praise the Lord, so far all good feedback." When I tell y'all, I had a full mental breakdown today, like tears pouring, because this has honestly affected our business, sales, customer experience so much. I was feeling so defeated. Nobody could give us answers to the problem. Customer service couldn't help us, nothing. So thank you all from the bottom of my heart for being so patient, placing your orders through us during this period. And thank you so much for taking your time to check on your end that our systems are back and fully operational. She also posted a video after that talking about how they are going to have a 25% off sale, and I'm going to post that as well.
Fingers crossed, but I think for the most part, all the glitches and error pages are, for the most part, gone. Every now and then it has a little problem, but not near as bad as it was. So shout out Josh for that. Secondly, to say thank you for your support, your patience, your kindness through it all. We are doing a sale. I haven't done a sale in like a month. I feel like I usually do more sales. Anyways, now until 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time tomorrow, all bottoms are 25% off. This includes denim, shorts, skirts. What else do we have as bottoms? Cargos, sweats, anything that covers your bottom is 25% off.
So let me give you my take on that. September 24th, the Lord drops September 28th in my spirit. September 28th comes and Brandon and Caitlin have a glitch on their clothing store's website, so nobody could purchase anything. I believe that was from the Lord. Okay, I believe that was from the Lord. I believe the Lord was attacking their business because of God's wrath. You know, Brandon is under God's wrath at this point. So that's one. Two, Caitlin said that Brandon was employee of the month. I remember thinking to myself later on that day that why do I feel like Brandon owns the business and Caitlin is just the face of it? Like, I honestly believe that Brandon is the one who came up with the money, whether it's through a business loan or through his own money, and he owns it. All the paperwork is in his name, but Caitlin is just the one who is the face of it. Because if you look on their page, y'all, not now, but in 2022, Caitlin made it clear that she was the owner of 13th and More. And even on her personal page, she put owner of 13th and More. And I'm going to post it too on the screen. So that was that for the month of September. I kind of want to do a little recap. Brandon, I talked about him in the month of September. As far as the job situation was concerned, I was still waiting on London for my data scientist assessment. I applied to another data science role. My finances at this point, they were really decreasing because I was paying other bills. Also, too, with the rental assistance, at this time, I was granted 15 months of rental assistance back in June. I had 3 more months left for eligibility when it came to the rental assistance because the entire rental assistance was only going to be for 18 months. So I had 15 months, and then the rest of the 3 months, I had to do this thing called recertification. So I had to fill out this form. Since I was already approved the first time and I got the first 15 months, I had to fill out a form to do the recertification, and then they would approve that and I would get the rest of the funds. So I remember doing that probably back in July or August. But at this time, I hadn't yet heard back from them. And also, too, I was using the $6,000 and some change that was left over to pay my August, September, and my October's rent. So by the month of November, y'all, I had nothing left. So I was really waiting for them to approve my recertification at this time. And yeah. So another thing I want to mention, y'all, was I remember having devotion on September 26th. And as I was flipping through my Bible, I remember seeing Joel 3. And there was this nudge inside of me that, man, I feel like I need to read that. So I'm going to read it to you. It says, "Judgment against enemy nations. At the time of those events, says the Lord, when I restore the prosperity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will gather the armies of the world into the valley of Jehoshaphat. There I will judge them for harming my people, my special possession, for scattering my people among the nations, and for dividing up my land." And it goes on to talk about the judgment. So I remember just reading that, and I'm like, okay, Lord, so are you trying to tell me that you're going to restore me first, then the judgment is going to happen with Brandon and Caitlin? Is that what you got going on? So I'm like, okay, Lord, if you restore me first, then Brandon and Caitlin judgment happens, then okay. On September 30th, y'all, I remember seeing a post that Brandon posted of Caitlin, and I'm going to post it on the screen.
I just think you look extremely pretty.
Are you joking?
No, I'm serious. Damn.
What?
You just look beautiful. Like before this, what is this, foundation?
A little bit.
So I'm going to get into the caption. Before I get into the caption, I want to correct myself. I screenshotted this September 29, 2022, and at the end of the post, it said 3 days ago. So that means he posted it on the 26th. So I'm going to read it. This is what Brandon says. He says, "Rewind to a few nights ago. You're sound asleep on me while we're on the couch. I stopped scrolling through movies and shows so you could rest a little longer. No more than 5 minutes after putting the remote down, I found my hand on your stomach and tears running down my face, thinking of the family you've given me. I could barely put into words how much I loved you when you woke up having to wipe my face for me. 2 beautiful girls, an amazing, supportive, and caring wife, the most fun-loving mother. I found myself thanking God every few seconds as you laid there on that couch with me. Your grace, your beauty, your heart, your love, all give me a home that I never could have dreamed of. Fast forward the next few days, riding around the city, night and day, Top off of the Jeep and Brett Young blasting on the speakers. Looking at you, your smile, your eyes, your laugh, just in disbelief of you sitting there beside me. I couldn't have asked for a more incredible human to call mine. No, this isn't all of the moments we share, but sometimes I get so caught up in sharing the moment that I forget to share the moment. But here's to more Jeep days, kisses under the stars, Saturday morning breakfast, and dancing in the kitchen, running a business together, late night couch dates, raising our children, and creating a life filled with faith, love, family, and happiness. So I remember seeing that post. Like I said, I saw it September 29, 2022. I remember just getting agitated, like, why does Brandon have to lie on social media? Why does he feel the need to sell his marriage to people on social media? Why? And at this point, y'all, it kind of felt like they were shoving their marriage down people's throats. Like, how many of these posts are you going to post? Because it seemed like it was consistent. Brandon had fitness trainer on his bio. Y'all, there was no fitness. So I'm like, Brandon, what are you doing? Now, mind you, at this point, I'm just so agitated. I remember telling myself that, man, the Brandon I found on social media that was living in Atlanta at the time is completely different from this Oklahoma Brandon. Even it got to a point where I said, you know what? I feel like Brandon left his brain in Atlanta. Because I'm like, who is this guy? Why does he feel the need to constantly post Caitlyn? I couldn't recognize him at this point anymore, y'all. I remember when I was shopping for receipts, I was looking at Brandon's pictures and I said, yo, there's something different about him. Physically, he looked the same. The only difference I recognized at this point was that he lost weight and that his hair had grown longer. Now, even with that, I remember saying that, man, ever since Brandon grew out his hair, things had been going downhill for him. Brandon grew out his hair April 2020. Caitlyn came back June 2020. So not only was Caitlyn setting him back, his braids was also setting him back too. So I remember just being so agitated, and I was sitting at the edge of my couch, looking at the balcony, and I said, you know what, Adriel, don't even get pissed off. That's what I was telling myself. Don't even get pissed off. Brandon is not in his right mind. That was my conclusion, that Brandon was not in his right mind. And funny enough, days after, weeks after, I remember Andrea put out a video where she said that prodigals are not in their right mind and that God has given them over to a reprobate mind. I'll probably talk about a reprobate mind later on in the series. But yeah, so I was like, yeah, y'all, Brandon was not in his right mind. Another thing I noticed that I observed at the time was that I remember thinking to myself, like, man, I don't think Brandon has any friends in Oklahoma. I believe the people he knew in Oklahoma were the people Caitlyn knew. So Caitlyn's family, Caitlyn's friends, Caitlyn's people. So Caitlyn's people became Brandon's people in Oklahoma. And that's not good, y'all. As a person, as an individual, you are to have friends, your own set of friends. So for him not having his own set of friends in Oklahoma, he's isolated, and that's exactly what Jezebel does. Jezebel wants to isolate Ahab or whoever she's with or whoever she's trying to control. She wants to isolate the person so that nobody is defending them. No one's fighting for them. No one can see Jezebel's true colors because all of Brandon's people are in Atlanta. So, yeah, I was like, yeah, Brandon has no friends. I can kind of see that he doesn't, and all the people he knew at that time were Caitlyn's people. So, yeah, I was just agitated. I said, yeah, he's not in his right mind. Adriel, don't even, stress yourself. So this leads me to October 1st. It's after midnight, and I'm thinking about the post that Brandon had of Caitlyn on social media. And I'm just thinking to myself that, hey, when Brandon and I get together, I don't want him to post me on social media. I don't want him to tell people on social media how much he loves me, how much I mean the world to me, because he said those same things to Caitlyn. Like, those compliments that he's going to give me on social media is going to feel like recycled compliments. I don't want him to do that. I don't want him to ever post me. None of that. The next thing you know, I just start crying, y'all. I just start crying. And I said, oh my goodness, that I can't do this. He has gone above and beyond to tell the world on social media how much he loves her, even though I know he's lying. When me and him get together, he's going to try and do the same thing. It's not going to feel authentic. So I just started crying, like, Lord, I don't want him to post me ever on social media. I don't want him to post me. No. I just started crying. Y'all, honestly, to the point where I was making sounds like, like it was bad. And I think the man who was living in apartment 14, he probably heard me crying because it was bad, y'all. I was crying. I was a lot. So probably, I want to say almost an hour after, because it was almost 2 a.m. at this point, y'all, the Holy Spirit stops me in my tracks and says this to me. He says, what if she's writing his captions? I'm like, what? So I stopped crying. Caitlyn is writing Brandon's captions? No. Then that was when I remembered the reconnection post, y'all. I started thinking about the reconnection post. I said, oh my goodness. Brandon's reconnection post and Caitlyn's reconnection post, it all started the same way. 3 years, 3 summers, 3 winters, 3 years. I'm like, oh my goodness. Brandon and Caitlyn's reconnection posts sounded very similar because Caitlyn was the one who wrote them. And y'all, I'm going to stop the episode right here. Next episode, I'm going to talk a little bit more about that and then also the month of October. So if you're liking An Unlikely Story, please like, comment, and subscribe. Please also share my videos as well. And until next time, y'all, bye.